Greetings, one and all. My name is Jason Davis. This is Empower Volusia Common Sense, and we're coming to you from an undisclosed location hidden in the upper highlands of West Volusia County, and we are in an iron bunker, hermetically sealed for our protection, and we are guarded by two rabid Pomeranians and one crazy cat. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the news, breaking news for you now. And today's date is, it's 5/30/2020, and the time is 10:54. And finally, Minneapolis and Minnesota, they're finally going to activate the entire National Guard. It's 10:54 a.m. here, and so I know you're probably listening to this. This is a recorded podcast, but it's pretty breaking. I mean, that's pretty impressive that finally, after, a week of non-civil rioting. Yes, it's rioting. It's not... This is just terrible what's going on here, folks. And I got more about that, so I will go more into that here in a minute. This is ridiculous. This George Floyd, in case you have been under a rock, not watching a television, you don't look at the internet, and in case something is going on in your life that has stopped you from seeing any kind of news whatsoever, whether it's CNN, ESPN, AM, ABC, MSNBC, Fox, whatever. And like I said, unless you've been living under a rock for the past week, George Floyd is also known as George the Gentle Giant Floyd, was detained by law enforcement officers for passing a fake $20 bill. Okay. I want you to remember that part. That's very important to this whole scenario that's going on. George Floyd was accused of passing a counterfeit $20 bill. Where he got it, nobody knows. He could have got it from the bank. He could have got it from another store. He could have found it on the road. No telling where he got this $20 bill. But he is being accused, or was accused of passing a counterfeit $20 bill. And the police in Minneapolis, Minnesota were called. They followed him. They stopped him. They took him out of his vehicle. They patted him down, frisked him, no weapons, no nothing. They handcuffed him and put him in the back of a patrol car. That should be the end of the story. And then we wouldn't be here. But unfortunately, it is not. Because according to police reports, Derek Chauvin, 44, a senior officer, showed up on the scene. Now, there were two law enforcement officers, Minneapolis police, that pulled him over and took him out and handcuffed him. Apparently, Derek Chauvin and his partner showed up at the scene after the fact. They then removed him from the car, apparently going to transfer him to Derek's car to take him to the police station and question him. We see it, and I have seen the video where they took him out of the one patrol vehicle, leaned him on a wall. He slid down, they said, sit down. They sat him down. And then the other patrol car comes up. They then pick him up, and he's like, what's going on? You can see he's concerned. He's looking left and right. He seems to be like, what's going on? What's going on here? And they took him around the back of the other patrol car. That's where that video ends. Then a bystander happens to be walking along, and they see a cop kind of low on the ground, and they hear this person saying, I can't breathe. And they take their cell phone. By the way, you should turn your cell phone sideways so you can get the whole scene. But they don't. They just shoot. Everybody likes to shoot it straight up and down. You miss a lot. We could know more if you turn your cell phone sideways and get a panoramic view, we can see more of what's going on. But anyways, George Floyd was on the ground, and he was saying, I can't breathe, and Derek Chauvin very plainly was videoed with his knee crushing George Floyd's neck in such a manner over his carotid artery to where he eventually died. Cut the blood flow off to the guy's brain. He dies. And that's what they did. The next video that we saw was them moving his body from the scene. And putting it in an ambulance. So, that's all we see. We have not seen the body camera from the cops to see what happened from point A to point B in the videos. We just know that information. So, now, this was over a fake $20 bill. A man who was a security guard, who pulled security at restaurants and nightclubs and at the rodeos, and was called George the Gentle Giant Floyd. He was well loved by people. He had a girlfriend. He has family. He lost his life because somebody accused him of passing a counterfeit $20 bill. So, now the nation, and we're just going down a quick timeline here with this. Now the nation we're all united because there's no reason for this. This is ridiculous. Why should any person die in the custody of the police? Especially when he's not even in the jail. He's at the patrol car side because of abuse from one law enforcement officer. This is wrong. I will tell you, this is wrong. I was in law enforcement for 6 years, folks. 6 years. And you are trained to not do that. You are trained to detain, and once they're handcuffed, you put them in the back of the car, you close the door. That's the end of the conversation. There should be no further discussion. We should not be doing this today. I should not be on a podcast today at 11 o'clock in the morning on 5/30/2020 talking about the death of George Floyd because a cop, a law enforcement officer, inappropriately detained this gentleman. So, now, the nation is united. I mean, let's be realistic. This is probably the first time that Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and all the Democrats in the House and Senate agreed 100% with the Republicans in the House and the Senate and the President and the Vice President of the United States. This is the first time in 4 years that everybody has said, you are right, this is wrong, we need to get to the bottom of this, this needs to be dealt with. And President Trump called the Attorney General and said, you need to get the FBI over there to Minneapolis and look into the situation and send the FBI. And they went, and the representative from the state attorney and the representative from the Attorney General, and everybody is in there, and they're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. They're looking at police cameras, body cameras, because all cops have body cams now. Most of us have body cams. You have a cell phone, turn it on, you got a body camera. So everything is moving in the way it's supposed to move. Yet there are some people who are very upset with this in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that go to the 3rd precinct, I think that's what it is, the 3rd precinct in Minneapolis, to the police department there, and they protest according to their First Amendment rights. They protest, which is your right, given to you by the Constitution of the United States. You have the right for peaceful assembly to express your disagreements with governments, government officials, and departments of your government. That is your right. I am 100% behind you. I would do it myself, but I don't live in Minneapolis. We are in the western highlands of Volusia County, Florida. So, but wait, as we say in the radio, but wait, there's more. That's right. There's always just a little bit more. And here's what happens.
Mama says stupid as a stupid does.
That's right. The stupid walks in. You know, we down here in the South have an old saying, you can't fix stupid. And this is proof positive. We can't fix stupid. We've tried. They've tried to legislate stupid out of existence. We've tried to arrest stupid. You just can't do it. It's stupid. And these people are beyond stupid. These people are beyond ignorant. These people have gone from, and this is not, let me clarify this. There are major cities across the United States, New York City, Chicago, Minneapolis, St. Paul, New Orleans. No, I don't think New Orleans is into the middle of this. Los Angeles. There are several cities across the state, or across the country, I'm sorry, that are having riots. Because, let's track it back, because a cop overasserted himself on a suspect, and he died over a $20 counterfeit bill. Let me just say this straight up, folks. The death of George Floyd was ridiculous over a $20 bill. That was absolutely uncalled for. I do not support it. This is ridiculous, and this is ignorant. And I do believe what happened. We'll get more into that. This happened. They start riots now. And the first victim to fall to the riots, I believe, was AutoZone. AutoZone auto parts store was burned to the ground. Well, how the heck did that happen? Well, reports say that protesters shot fireworks into the store. Now, wait a minute. Hold on 2 seconds. Somebody's got fireworks in Minneapolis, Minnesota, handy, with a lighter to ignite, to shoot into the auto parts store. And also, by the way, the windows were destroyed, and the local Target there was raided. This, folks, is not protesting. These are riots. This is looting. This is against the law. So, how did we start with this? Well, because on Facebook now, we're going back to the auto parts store. On Facebook this morning as I got up, we happened to see a recently released video of a gentleman clad entirely in black. He's wearing a plastic painter's respirator, it's like a face mask with big, triangular shaped filters on the side. He's wearing a black hoodie with it pulled all the way over and tugged tight so you can't see his hair color. He's wearing dark sunglasses. He's carrying an umbrella over his head. Why, I don't know. It must have been raining. And he walks up to the side windows of the auto parts store with a metal pipe or a metal object of some sort and smashes the windows. One smash, one hit each window. Bang, bang, bang. And the windows shatter. Now, then citizens are there going, what are you doing? And you can hear it on that video. They're saying, what in the world are you doing? They confront this guy. And he turns and walks away because now he knows he's on camera. Because this one was one where somebody turned it sideways. Thank you. And we were able to see he walked around behind the dumpster because he came out from that behind the building. Because he's a chicken. He's a coward. And he walks back around behind the dumpster and around the corner. He's trying to walk away. And people are saying, what would you do that for? Why? And you can hear them saying, what in the world is your problem, buddy? Because the people in this area of Minneapolis, Minnesota, most of them are good people. They are nice people. They are people who respect other people's property. They are people that respect other people's livelihoods. And they try to confront this guy, and he turns on him and he bows up. Now, this is a gentleman, I would dare say, was probably about 5'7", 5'8", maybe 6 foot tall. And this guy was walking along, and he's trying to confront this guy, but this guy was much shorter, and I can understand the black clad person. We will call him Antifa Operator 1, and I'll explain that in a minute. He bows up to him and threatens him, and the girl that is shooting the video goes, honey, let's just go. We don't need a problem. Let's go. And it was very soon after that, someone fired fireworks into the auto parts store, which ignited, okay, think it through, folks. There's fuels in there. There's accelerants. There's oils. There's radiator fluid, transmission fluid. There are cans of starter fluid. There's that new stuff, True Fuel in there. And it ignited. And it burned a concrete steel building literally to the ground. Now, why do I say that's an Antifa Operative 1? Because let me tell you, folks, we've seen it through the past several years. Anytime there is some sort of riot somewhere, and we can go back to Ferguson, Michigan, and before, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, show up these people clad entirely in black sneakers, black socks, black everything. Respirators on, hoodies pulled up tight, walking along, and they're carrying something of, shall we say, to do damage. And they instigate these riots, and they've tried this all over the country. They did it in Washington State. Remember Seattle? They had the big stand down. And when they got arrested, they found out who they were, and they found out who they worked with. They were Antifa. And I'm going to say this, and this is my opinion, and I will tell you when it's my opinion, and this is my opinion because of his history and because you have seen his actions before with this organization. I will tell you that George Soros is probably funding this particular riots and these particular insurgents because, folks, this is no longer a peaceful protest. The destruction of livelihood, we're talking thousands of people have lost their livelihood. People have lost property, buildings. I'm looking at the Minnehaha Lake Wine and Spirit building on the Associated Press, which was sent out yesterday afternoon at 5:29 at 1:30 p.m. I'm looking at this picture of a beer and wine store totally engulfed in fire. This, folks, is terrorism. These are domestic terrorists. They need to be caught. They need to be arrested. They need to be charged. They need to go to prison for a long time, to the point where when they pass away, they should be buried on the property of the prison. We need to make an example of these people because this is what has happened throughout this country now in many of the major cities. We now have what we have is riots and domestic terrorism going. That's what, I'm no longer going to call it a riot. This is domestic terrorism at its worst. When people are dying. In Chicago, people were shot down in the street as they were protesting by people driving down the street in vehicles committing murder. This, folks, is a sad state, This is a sad state of affairs for our country. And what we need to do is we need to stop this.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
And let me communicate this to you folks. This whole disaster in this country all started with a fake $20 bill and an accusation only that Mr. Floyd passed it. That's what all this is about. A fake $20 bill. What I need you to do, folks, this is what I need you to do. I think you need to, let's see if we can change this now. That's where we're going to go. Let me see if we can change this. Let's
go ahead. Make my day.
Make my day, folks, because this is what we need to do. We're not the terrorists. We're not out there doing this. What we need to do is we need to send a message. How do we send a message? We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We've got all the YouTubes. We got everything going on here, folks. And what I want you, yes, you. Yeah, you're pointing at yourself. I see you. You. What I need you to do is I need you to copy this webcast. Copy this podcast and send it out to everybody you know and encourage everybody to listen to this, because you will find out the stupidity of this whole entire disastrous. This is a disaster, but it's stupid how this has escalated from a $20 bill to destruction of literally hundreds of millions of dollars in costs to damage the property, overtime for law enforcement, enacting the National Guard, trying to protect people's lives, their property, over a stupid $20 bill. That is ignorance. My friends, my loyal listeners, pass this off to your friends, people who may never have heard of JasonDavisPodcast.com. Pass it off to them. We need you. We need the American people who are law-abiding citizens who are tired of this kind of ridiculous garbage going on. We need you to let people hear this. They need to know that they're idiots and what they're doing is wrong. And you know what? They also need to know that the American people are done. This is our best chance here to let them know, and also send this off. I'm sure the president may even hear this. When we find these people, I want them charged with domestic terrorism. I want these people that are starting this garbage. I'm trying to remain calm, but I want these people that are starting these fires, that are destroying this property, that are hurting people, that are taking life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, which is supposed to be guaranteed to us by the Declaration of Independence, as we declared that by our Creator are endowed with inalienable rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. These terrorists are taking that away from us. Mr. President, I ask and beg of you to charge these people who are doing these things, these fires, and hurting people, charge them and incarcerate them as domestic terrorists. And only you, my friends, can get the word out. Only you can tell these people, because they'll hear it, of course. We get enough people listening to this one podcast. This is all, this one. Enough people listening to this one podcast passing it around, they're going to look at their friends and say, maybe you work for that Antifa guy. You are working for that. And anybody who's paying money or spending money and giving it to Antifa needs to be charged with supporting of domestic terrorism. But we need to get the word out. Maybe, just maybe somewhere, your neighbor is going to say, hey, wait a minute, I know that guy right there. I saw that guy on TV. Yeah, he's with Antifa. He needs to be arrested. We need to find these people. We need to turn them over to the law enforcement officers, the FBI, your local whomever, and charge them because they have caused enough heartache, enough loss of life, and enough destruction in our nation to where we were united a week ago when this started. But today we are not. We are a nation divided. And we need to reunite ourselves, stand by each other, side by side. I don't care what your nationality is. I don't care the color of your skin. We need to be a united nation and fight this domestic terrorism. We fought it across the country, across the world, I mean. I was part of that when I served in the military. I fought terrorism across the ocean. We need now to fight it here because that's the only way they can ever get us and destroy our nation is from within. Folks, pass this on. Because, folks, this is truly the truth.
You can't handle the truth!
And also, because we need to actually really start using a lot of common sense.